Hey, pal.
Hey guys,
Good news, bro.
lekker man,
We're back.
100%.
Shoot the breeze.
Yeah,
So what is a shoot the breeze, pal?
it's one of the episodes where we just really just chill a bit, relax on the aviation news, and sort of use the opportunity as a podcast for you and I to sort of catch up, I suppose,
Yeah.
and chat about all the cool things that we're up to. And yeah,
I thought about it a bit like it's also an opportunity for us to show our listeners, who we are aside from the aviation side of things. So, what's this, our third or fourth one that we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's the fourth one at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go for it. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we did a Cathay episode, basically lambasting Cathay for their new way of operating and their new contracts for their pilots and all the rest. And that episode went to number 1 in Hong Kong. So well done there, pal. It was nicely received and lots of messages from people there saying, that was pretty accurate. So pretty chuffed with that. Chuffed that it did become number 1 there because and that they did see it as an accurate episode. But that was the first one. Then last week, you had a interesting Bryan Air advisory where you mentioned a guy, Josh Cahill, and then you actually tagged him in a post, and he then got hold of you and then reposted our video, and within a couple of hours, we had over 1,000 views.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I mean, I didn't think much of it at first, but I sort of thought about it after the podcast. I thought, shucks, you mentioned Josh. Better shoot him an email, just say, hey, listen, I hope you don't mind, but mentioned you on the show. And by the way, love your work, and it'd be cool to catch up sometime. And it was very nicely received by Josh. And he very kindly shared our podcast on his platform. And I think he's got 618,000 subscribers. So obviously it shot the podcast across a much wider network, which is very cool. And I think you and I were both surprised because it's kind of evident of the effect of the networking and really, really cool. It's nice to be able to grow the show a bit and I suppose reach a new type of viewer as well.
Yeah, so hopefully we get a few new viewers off that one. But more than that, I was just pleasantly surprised. Josh has got 618,000 viewers. He didn't have to repost our
who
show.
are we in the grand scheme of things? And we kind of sort of got chatting over the last couple of weeks, and turns out he comes out to SA sort of once a year, and we sort of half align it up that if he is out here next time, we'll try and catch up, have him on the show.
Yeah,
get to meet the man behind all the airline reviews. And,
so looking forward to that. But nonetheless, a real positive episode. The last 2 weeks have been very, very good. Actually, 2 of our top performing YouTube videos ever on the show. So definitely reached a new level. So we'll stay a bit away from the pure aviation news side this week and just go down a slightly different, more podcasty path.
Yeah.
And but I was on another podcast a couple of weeks ago as well.
Yeah. You so tell us about that. What the Omni show, hey?
The Omni show. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Omni Focus.
Oh, yeah.
The software. It's a project management bit of software that I've been using for, going on 3 years now. And I think we spoke about it on the podcast, must have been, 2 years ago. And I mentioned to you what I use it for and how it works and all the rest. And they found that video on YouTube and then got hold of me and said, hey, why don't you tell our listeners what you do with OmniFocus and all the rest. So that was kind of cool.
That was one of your advisories.
Yeah, it was an advisory. Yeah. So that was quite neat, and I got to chat about it and a different avenue of, totally different type of podcast to what we normally do. But it was nice nonetheless, and got to see, be on the receiving end of the podcast and see it from another side. Very organized show. The guy, Andrew Mason, that's the host, is, it was very professionally done. And a bit different how you and I did. But that was cool. So I sat here on a Friday, late Friday afternoon, did that show. They spend a bit of time editing, so that's one thing I picked up. You and I, we don't edit. No, we don't edit at all. So what you see is what you get. Yeah. Show starts and ends. If you said something that shouldn't have been in, we might consider taking it out. Yeah, it happened last week actually.
Yeah, we'll apologize if we're on the next one. But we don't have the time really to edit or faff around too much.
It's only like if we think, geez, that might get us cancelled. So Ryan made some comment about a cadet, which which I had to toss out the window. But other than that, we're normally pretty accurate with it. But no editing. But they heavy edit, make sure that it's all pieced together nicely. And one of the things that I noticed, sometimes we're chatting like this, we're having a conversation, and the only reference you have as to how a podcast conversation should go is you listening to other podcasts.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is, those gaps sometimes between, when a question is asked and when a question is answered.
Yeah.
A lot of these podcasts are actually editing the space out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. So that it sounds like the guest is answering that question straight away.
So we're the one podcast out there with the most gaps in it. Thanks to yours truly.
There's a lot of gaps. Metaphorically and so at least I saw it there, but kind of cool, and it was nice to chat about it and give my take on the productivity angle, which was such a big part of starting off the whole Bryan Air advisory.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say, isn't it cool how the advisory has actually become quite a big sort of component of the weekly show?
It has.
It's almost as if we do a podcast without the advisory, it's like you dropped the ball.
You're being cheated a bit.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, so that was nice. And then we've had other things on the go. Work-wise, we always mention in the week that we're busy, and no one really knows sort of what we're up to. And we've each got our work stuff that we're doing. We've got personal things going on. We'll chat about a bit, some of those things today as well. But you're a busy guy at the moment.
Yeah, as are you.
Yeah.
Lots going on. I often get asked the question, are you going to go back to airline flying? Especially recently. And the honest answer is right now, I never say never. But I really don't think so, because the way we operating at the moment, there isn't a moment's chance to be understimulated, if that's the word for it. We've got quite a lot on the go, and we've obviously found other interests and hobbies and things along the way since we left the airline. I don't know if I can go back to that sort of sitting still for too long kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a different life, I suppose.
It is very different.
It's hard to picture going back to it. But I mean, on the one hand, when you look at everything going on here now at the moment, I say here, South Africa, but the rest of the world, of course, even more so the rest of the world. Isn't it so great to see that the opportunity is just so different today? There's so much opportunity. If you do want to fly, and that is your passion, your career, you can actually make the most of it and choose a direction, choose an airline that kind of fits into your way of doing things, your culture, whatever it is, and you can design your own path. Whereas going back 10, 15 years, it just wasn't the case. Whoever was employing, that's where you were going. Yeah. But now there's an abundance of opportunity, which is kind of cool to see.
Look, the not only aviation, I think people in general are quite busy at the moment. I mean, all sorts of contractors that I've had to sort of deal with things on the side. Everyone's busy, but especially more evident to us in the field that we're in. I mean, got to fess up. I'm back at flight school for a bit.
Yeah.
Been trying to keep that under wraps for a bit. But there's no getting around it.
40-year-olds redoing his PPL.
Literally. Giving the instructors rating a bash, and this is what an eye-opener. Yesterday I was there at at Blue Chip for the first time, and it's a weird feeling being this 40-year-old
Student.
dude and all these young hotshots.
Yeah.
And you're there to do your instructor's rating. It's weird, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's good. It's healthy, and it's something that you're going to use. I mean, it's a nice thing to do.
Something I should have done a long time ago. I mean, you did it a couple of years ago, and you know, it's taken me a while to work up the balls, I suppose, to actually go and give it a bash and get back into a light aircraft again, and sort of just get your brain back into that sort of level of flying.
Yeah,
so very cool. But getting back to why I started that was the industry itself. Sitting at that flight school, man, you want to see how busy that place is. It's buzzing, and the other flight schools around Vonneboom at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, so the aviation industry is alive, and you can see that there's opportunity everywhere. I mean, there's a shortage of instructors at the moment because instructors are getting opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah, that's everywhere across the board, right?
Yeah.
The whole world is short of instructors.
Yeah, so obviously it's a ripple effect from the shortage caused by the airlines, etc., etc., etc. But it really, really is cool to be back in that buzz. When you go to an airport and there's actually really a vibe again.
Yeah,
because of the excitement and things are happening, planes are flying, opportunities are.
I think it's kind of cool, man.
It's very cool.
It's like it's a little project on its own, and it's something that you're gonna use. But you've got to take yourself back. You've got to humble yourself, and you've got to start again, basically. And you don't know anything. Well, you know the basics, but you actually have to start off. You have to sort of pretend, right? I don't know. Let's start from square one and work your way up. And I think it's a great thing to do. You're not going to regret it. In 3 weeks' time, it's going to be done, and you're going to be very chuffed with yourself.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's. I suppose what's nice is, like I was telling someone earlier, as pilots, you're quite used to, from when you start this career, having a goal to chase.
Yeah.
You start your PPL, and you can't wait to finish your PPL and then get your comm.
Yeah.
When you've got your comm, you can't wait to fly the next big twin-engine turbine. There's always a goal or something that you're chasing. And I think I realized a while ago that after COVID, we decided to change directions. I mean, we've done a lot and we've achieved a lot in the short space of time, I suppose. But, there's always that element of you don't want to, what's the word for it? You need something to aim for all the time. So this idea popped up, and I suppose just something else to chase for the meantime until the next best thing comes up.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll edit that gap out where you took a bit of time to find that word.
Yeah, thanks. It'll make it sound a little bit more professional.
No, I think it's great, Paul. I think it's something you've been chatting about for a while. Now you're going and doing it, and I think if you are a young pilot out there, go get your instructors. No brainer. Go and do it.
It's largely your fault as well, because you went and did it 2 years ago. I was like, fuck all. Bryan did it.
Yeah. You see, I do everything Joe Rogan does.
I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to be left behind. So,
well, that's what it's about, man.
Yeah. And you made it sound really easy. And I'm going through all the stuff, and I'm like, yes, it's not as easy as Bryan made it sound.
Yeah. No, you'll crack it. No, that's awesome. And staying with you, obviously the guitar side of things.
Yeah, I'm still hammering that out, trying to catch a bit of practice every now and again as much as I possibly can. Also very ambitious, Try and practice guitar when you got two rugrats cruising around the house and a wife that wants everything done. But loving it. That is something else that's going to be a lifelong hobby, because talk about doing hard things, man. That was quite a, like I say, an ambitious thing to try and take on. But I'm loving it. It's actually one of those small things I do on the side that just helps me tune out of the daily noise.
Yeah, that's not something you're going to master in a year.
No.
That's a lifelong project, as you say. But no, so we're going to I'll report back on that. Got a couple of videos we're editing there of old Parrock jamming in his studio there.
Just get the sound out.
So those will come out pretty soon.
Oh.
My side, Ryan, also busy. I've got my first jiu-jitsu grading on Saturday.
Is it this Saturday?
Yeah.
Already? You joke.
Yeah.
I still thought there was a while for you. Oh.
Yeah.
And are you ready?
Yeah, so I'm as ready as I could be. Look, it's been, what have I been doing it now since December last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's about the right time. So hopefully I get maybe I get a couple of stripes on the white belt. Who knows? But, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's actually, it's quite a thing. You go in there, you basically roll with all the guys in the club. So big, small, whatever, you have your fight. And the whole theory behind it is you can't exactly, so you've got your first fight in the morning and they're sort of one after each other. So you can't gas yourself out in that first fight. It's pointless using 100% of your battery in that first fight. Then you got nothing left for the rest. So you kind of have to gauge how much am I going to put into this first fight? This guy might be a smaller guy. How much energy am I going to exert type of thing and all the rest. And then it's all about, can you get out of those certain bad positions? Are you following the moves that you've learned? Are you panicking and then trying to use your strength to get out? Or are you actually using a bit of technique, understanding the mechanics of it? And it's, it's pretty cool. The one guy said to me the other day, he said, and he's one of the guys that's been there a long time. He said, no, look, if you're very nervous, don't be, we can, we'll like roll first. And I said, no, I'm not nervous or anything. But and the reason I answered that is because we are so used to being graded.
Yeah.
You always used to being evaluated as a pilot. Yeah. And this is like a similar thing. And you've just actually got to go in there and prove that you are following the rules and the techniques. And so it's not about nerves or anything, but the same as we are, you want to represent, you want to do well, you've put in the work, so now you want to see a little result.
I suppose that's
at the end.
What you're saying is going there and also not letting yourself down.
Exactly. It's
you in
totally.
There it's all actually against you.
It's you against you. It's how good you were the last week. Are you better this week? And that's what it's all about. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've been speaking about it quite a bit, and a good time to bring it up. I've had this newsletter going now for a while, and I think we're up to close to 100 subscribers on the newsletter, which is pretty cool. And the newsletter's been a way for me to actually sit down on a weekend, whatever we spoke about on the show, maybe expand on one or two areas, normally the advisory, normally from a motivational angle. I try and throw the jiu-jitsu progress in there as well with a bit of a picture and explain what we did and my progress along the way. That's been kind of cool because by writing it down, it's actually easier to track that journey.
So you're journaling it?
Journaling it a bit and then sending that out as
it's pretty cool.
As a newsletter. It's been pretty cool. And so if you want to check that out, link in the show notes. That's the one thing with the newsletter. Then what we're doing as well, obviously we've got the Patreon side of things. While I'm talking about Patreon, we have a $20 patron, Yaku Besta, the latest pledge. Thank you so much, Yaku. And that's the government subsidized one. That's the expense of the big boy.
Oh shucks,
$20. The normal one, normal one is $10, and there's a $5 one as well. So if you want to support us, that's where you can do it. And then the newsletter basically goes out on there as well. But not everyone can afford to pay $10 a month, $5 a month, whatever. And that's cool. But then if you can't, then subscribe to the newsletter. Then you're supporting us that way.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of nice, and I'm glad that I started that whole thing, because to document the journey is important. So I'll let you know next week how the rolling went on the weekend.
100%.
But it should be good.
Oh, well, good luck for that, guys. I mean, it's actually a bit of a big deal. Your first grading. I mean, I remember when I was a light and I was doing karate and everything. It's a hell of a big deal.
Yeah.
There's nothing cooler than that atmosphere when you get to the event on a Saturday, and everyone's there to do a grading, and it's quite a cool vibe.
No, I'm keen.
I remember that from when I was I lie to you. And yeah, man, come out with a couple of stripes.
Yeah, I hope so. Look, I never thought I'd enjoy it as much as I did. And at the beginning, I tell you what, it was so hard to get there in the evenings after a long day of work. Man, it's like difficult. And then winter came along, and then it was even more difficult, freezing cold, and now you got to go and get strangled. But just sticking with it, it just over time, it just becomes easier and easier. And the one big thing, Ryan, is there are not many things more difficult than at 8 o'clock in the evening being strangled by an oak that's bigger than you and trying to get out of that horrible situation. Yeah. It makes other things in your life easier. And that was the whole thing. It like puts things into perspective. Yeah. So I'm so glad that I did it. But this is a lifelong thing. It's not something that's going to get mastered. I mean, one of the guys there, they're sitting on blue belts and purple belt for 10 years before they're going up. So
no, that's the cool thing. I mean, it's really lacquer to have that one thing you do on the side that is exceptionally difficult, that maintains a challenge. I mean, so it's going to be a long time before you see me on stage. but
you'll be like
you have
that,
to have that.
Yeah, remember that movie that I think it was called Old School, the movie where they had that wedding singer,
something like that.
Yeah, I could see you doing that.
But cool. Yes, the Jits is an awesome thing, and I mean, it's obviously working because you've definitely trimmed down on the body fat more than I have lately.
Yeah, look,
either that or I'm just drinking more beer.
Yeah, we haven't slowed down on the beer, you and me, but. No, it takes it out of you, Ryan. Yeah. I wear that whoop strap during training. I mean, you're burning like 700 calories a session.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wild. Eh? No, I'm stuffed. You are absolutely stuffed afterwards. And it's not like running on a treadmill watching a video. This is like some oak is trying to smash you.
Smash.
So it's a hell of a workout. But that's not all that's been going on. So there's some other big news. Rosevear number 2 is on the way.
My man.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you to bust that news out for weeks.
Yeah. So early December.
I'm so chuffed for you.
The little boy is due.
Yeah.
So I have a Jits partner. And so very excited about that. Known about it a while. Just kept it to us this time. Wasn't a big social media thing. Not posting it on social media, actually. So if you don't listen to the pod, you ain't going to know about it.
Yeah.
So, very excited, pal.
I'm so chuffed for you guys. I mean, the day you told me, and I've been keeping the secret for a while now. Yes. Especially knowing that it's a little dude on the way. There's nothing cooler. I mean, yes, the kids are so special. And, the relationship between boys and girls, there's something different there. But having that little guy it's like, I remember before Riley was born, it was like, you got another little pal on the way.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I'm very.
So on that note, Valmarie would be very pissed off if I didn't give this to you from the Parox to you guys.
No ways, man.
As a massive,
thanks, pal.
Something small, but congratulations.
Oh, that's awesome. You really didn't have to do that. Can I open now?
Well, you can. It's just
thank you, but
little things to get started. But
check at that.
Yeah,
legit.
It really was supposed to be a miniature Springbok.
This is power.
Baby grow.
Thank you, pal.
But they ran out.
Thank you, man. No, you didn't have to do that. Thanks, Val. Really appreciate that, guys. It's amazing how small these things are.
But
then when they pop out,
yeah. So on that note,
thank you. But
if you thought Jits was hard,
yeah,
it's about to get a whole lot harder.
But look, that's the next little challenge around the corner.
Yeah, but it's massive. Yes, such a special time, man.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that next thing. And I think you and I, personally, I think we actually thrive a bit by having that bit of a difficulty in your path. I think that's when we sort of come into our own. I've discovered that certainly about myself is. When things are running smooth, it means you're not doing enough. You must go, and that next challenge must come. Yeah. So I think from that perspective, man, I'm really looking forward to it, and that's the next big thing. I'll talk about it in my newsletter, right? But I want to show you what it looks like first, pal.
You've got a picture?
Yeah, well, the newsletter, yeah, there it is. This was the last one. So, yeah, I'll just dive into it a bit there. There's a bit of gen on what's going on in my life. Thought for the week there. There's our pod. Click on the picture. It takes you straight to the video. And then all the links that we spoke about in the week show are there. So if you're not big on looking on the show notes or what, this is basically an expanded version of that. And, yeah, like I say, it's a nice way to go and express those thoughts. And then on the other hand, if you want to rather look on our Patreon, there's our Patreon site, and the videos get thrown on there. There's the last little post that I put out there to our patrons, me, the missus, and my little one. And yeah, so it's I think for the first time since we started the podcast, I'm pretty happy now with the infrastructure that we have in place in terms of we've got our YouTube channel is doing really well. We got the Patreon side. We got the newsletter that goes out. And there's really, people can get hold of us in a multitude of ways now.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we've settled on that structure. One or two things we want to add on in the future. Maybe we can even toss it around on the show. Talking about Josh, he's also got Patreon, but he does it in a slightly different way. He's got like this WhatsApp group that you can join, and for a fee.
Yeah.
And I wonder, be interesting to see would people join our private WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting sort of concept and an idea to think about. I mean, I think don't people find it cool when they can really engage it? If they like your show, have a direct point of contact. So you're not some sort of stranger that's doing a podcast that is untouchable. I mean, speaking on behalf of us and all content creators, there's nothing cooler than when you're putting out content, but someone
reaches
gets in
out.
touch with you and reaches out and say, hey, listen, really dig this, or didn't like what you said about this. Have you heard about that?
Which happens a lot.
Oh, yeah, you get it. But WhatsApp group is actually a very good idea, I suppose. It makes it a little bit more instantaneous, I suppose.
Yeah. No, so it's something we were looking at. So we will be adding stuff on as we go. But for the time being, I think our infrastructure there is pretty good. I'm also staying with news of Bryan. Yeah, I'll be heading off to Paris at the end of September. Going to keep the pod going this time, though. So we'll commit to that now, because otherwise it comes to that. It's too easy to say, no, we're not going to do it.
No, we
So that'll be a remote one. I'll be there, you'll be here, and we'll make it happen.
Of course.
So looking forward to that as always. But another trip over there. Paul, Simero is growing at such a rapid rate, and it's just so cool to be part of this machine and just be pushing along with them. So I'll report back as to exactly what we're doing. It'll become news soon, but new centers all around the world, and lots to be excited about. Yeah. New centers and simulators, which is kind of cool, man.
It's insane. It's really, really impressive to watch and sort of be a part of.
Yeah,
it's exciting. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I'll say it again. It's really, really cool to be a part of an organization, not only Simero, but us as a team as well, where we get things done.
Yeah.
There's a dynamic, there's an energy, there's a bit of a force behind it. Not like where we were a couple of years ago, where things were stagnant and stale and just shit.
Yeah, different ball game.
It's actually a very cool sort of part of or time period of our lives right now.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of different ball games, did you watch the Box take on the All Blacks the other day?
Wasn't going to miss that game at all. And I think, hence our proud support today of the boys last week.
Yeah. What a game. It worries me that they played that well 2 weeks before the World Cup. That is a bit of a... Yeah. That scares me a little bit, to be honest.
Where did Marnie Lebok all of a sudden find his...
well, they've changed his whole kicking style. I mean, it's totally changed. They've obviously worked with him, and he's kicking properly now.
Yeah.
But the World Cup starts next week, 8th of September, New Zealand take on France.
Yeah, our first game is on the 10th. We're playing Scotland, if I remember.
Yeah, we got a
correctly.
difficult draw.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. But like you said, I hope it doesn't give them a false sense of confidence.
I don't think it will. I think Rusty's he's a mastermind there, and I'm sure he's got them mentally. I think they probably, as tough as any team there. So I'm not worried from that perspective. It's just, how much did we give away to the other teams as to how we're going to play?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Like I think there's been so much psychological sort of warfare in these warm-up games between the teams. Because, be honest with you, I didn't expect Argentina to be that much of a contender. But yes, in those two games we played, those guys are
Argentina are tough.
Units.
Argentina are tough.
So,
No, but Scotland are good. I mean, Scotland are better than they've ever been going into a World Cup.
yeah.
So it's going to be a really, really good one. And of course, I'm not going to Paris for the rugby, unfortunately, but it is on when I'm there.
I was about to say, you couldn't have timed this better.
Yeah.
So, geez, getting in Paris is going to be like...
It's going to be chaos, eh?
Eh?
It's chaos at the best of times, never mind during a World Cup.
I can imagine the flying there and back is going to be quite hectic.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
A
Couple of brewskis on the flight, I think.
Well, that makes everything better.
Depending on how the Boks are doing, I suppose. But that's something to look forward to. But I think this World Cup's going to be great. And obviously, representing today, you've got your official Springbok.
Yeah, this
jersey
is the
on.
2023 official Springbok shirt. Well, Rugby World Cup shirt.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's good.
I dig
It's a
it.
present from my wifey.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Oh, that's actually the France 223 one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the legit one.
Very nice. And my one is a slightly different one. This one, Ryan, is actually my advisory because this is an old school, and literally an old school. It's the company's called Old School, but they make old school rugby jerseys. There's a crowd in Stellenbosch, and they made like the jerseys you would have worn when you were at school.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
I love it because it looks like it's
and this isn't the normal Springbok supporter one. This is the Drickus du Plessis version one. So this has actually got Still Knocks written around here, and then the S obviously for Still Knocks or the Springboks. But that's very cool. Then I've obviously got the official supporters jersey, which is same sort of rugby old school material with the little Springbok patch. So it's actually one of these companies that I came across them, and when I bought this one, I thought this is so well made, and I'm sure like a lot of our listeners would like it. It's a very cool present to give someone. You're always battling to get people things.
Yeah.
Got to buy someone something. You don't want to throw the money away, but there's one for girls. That's the one that I bought now. That's what's at $900. Then that's the long sleeve supporters jersey. So very, very cool company. And then there's the Still Knocks one.
Those are legit. You can actually see it. It's like really well made. The material looks as tough as Still Knocks.
Yeah. So if you don't know who Drickus is and you're living under a tree, he's our big hope for the UFC title.
Yeah.
And he's actually a flipping cool guy. When you listen to his interviews and watch him on TV and how he speaks, he represents South Africa properly. I mean, real pro South African. And only positive things to say. He's built an infrastructure here in South Africa. His gym is here, so he trains here and all the rest. He's the true African champion. And so if you want to support him, go get this jersey. You want to support Old School. They're very cool. They're comfortable. They're warm. Legit. That's my advisory. It's not very technical this week, but nonetheless, it's a shoot the breeze episode.
100%. And those are pretty legit shirts, man. Jerseys.
Upcoming events other than the World Cup, we got the Italian Grand Prix this weekend. No doubt Max will be winning that one as well. Your Ferraris are nowhere to be seen.
No.
They didn't even have tires in the pit stops the other day. So I don't know what's going on with those oaks. And then the MotoGP this weekend as well. Let's go Brad Binder. He's riding so well.
No, he's just on fire.
Another South African representing properly on the world stage.
Yeah, no.
Have we got more people representing us on the world stage at the moment than like ever before? We've always had like an Olympic sprinter and, you know, the odd person in these sort of sports that you see once every 4 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brad Binder is operating. I mean, he's a title contender in MotoGP.
Yeah.
He's not like just there to make up the numbers. He's KTM's number one rider, and he's going to be there for a long time. He's probably going to be a world champion. We're going to have a South African world champion at some point in the future.
No doubt.
And then, like we're saying with Drickus du Plessis, I mean, the UFC, the biggest fighting competition, hands down, and Drickus is right up there. I mean, a world champion, title contender. He's the number one now to contend for that title. So it's so cool to actually have that at this stage, knowing the difficulties that South Africa is going through at this stage.
I was just about, going to say, like, it's moments like this when you've got a lot of these awesome individuals out there representing, doing so well, that really make us proud to be South Africans, and to really stand behind the emblems and the teams that we support. So
makes you want to wear that jersey and you want to go around and be a bit patriotic.
I mean, after that game last week Friday, the weekend, everyone you bumped into was like, geez, how was that game? Because look, I think it was more out of surprise than anything else. But watching that game, that stadium, although that was played in the UK, was 90% South African, man. Yeah. And it was just,
well, you could hear 90% of this. So the Kiwis made their way out the back door on that one. But you're right. On Saturday morning, that was on Friday night. Eh?
Yeah.
Saturday morning, there was a different vibe around Joburg.
Oh, totally.
It was totally different. Everyone was, hey, did you see the game? And how cool is it to be patriotic? I love it. You're supporting someone because they're from your hometown. Total different story. And we haven't had that for a long time.
I mean, Americans are very good at their patriotism, but I think it's really becoming obvious as well, having said that how many South Africans are actually abroad right now.
No,
so you go and watch a rugby game in the UK. And
it's as well supported as a game as at Ellis Park.
So we're out there, but we're out loud and proud. And that's what really makes us cool.
That's a good slogan for this week's show, because
out loud and proud.
Out loud and proud. Because it has just been the months where all these big corporations are posting how much they're doing for equality and all those things, and the Bryan Air podcast is part of that.
Well, there we are.
Awesome. Now, I enjoy these Shoot the Breeze shows, pal. They're really cool. They give us a chance to kind of let's talk about something, give the listeners a little bit of a insight as to who we are, what we're doing. And I think that's important. We've definitely grown the network over the last year and a bit. So a lot of these people that are listening to us don't know us personally, whereas when we started the show, everyone that was listening to us knew who we were. Yeah. So we kind of changed tact a bit, and that's where the Shoot the Breeze episode came from. But I just also want to give a bit of a shout out to a few people. A lot of guys over the particularly last 3 or 4 months, a lot of people have moved overseas. Yeah. So all those guys that have left, obviously now when the rugby's on, you're talking about the rugby and that on the weekend and the World Cup coming on, that's also when you do miss home a bit.
Yeah.
So shout out to everyone that's away, all the guys that moved across to Oz and everywhere in the world. Mike Mason put out a picture the other day. He was, I don't know if you saw it, I think he had just done a park run or something.
Yeah.
He had his gear on there and he looks like an oak at home in Oz.
Seems to be fitting in quite well.
Seems to be fitting in well. So shout out to Mark in particular. And El, thanks for all the lacquer comments on the show. There were so many good comments on last week's show.
Yeah.
El always got nice things to say. Caroline as well. Everyone.
Yeah. No, guys, thank you very much. I mean, we appreciate the support, and we obviously love the contact every week and hearing from everyone across the world. It really, really is awesome. And
it's the best part about the show.
Oh yeah, I mean, it keeps us grounded. And I suppose one last thing before we sign off again, just one massive congratulations again to
Thanks,
you and
Paul.
Nicole and little Capri on the next edition arriving.
Yeah.
We can't wait to meet the little Oak.
Yeah.
And
It's coming around quick. This year's just flying because, you go for these appointments all the time. You know what it's all about. And, once a month, then it becomes every 2 weeks. But feels like you were there 3 or 4 days ago and you're back, So, the year's coming quickly. I know it's going to happen fast. So, we're going to keep at it.
Magic, man.
Yeah, and we gave a shout out to all the people that have left, and a shout out just to everyone that does tune in every week and listens to the show. We wouldn't do it if people weren't listening. We wouldn't do it, and if there was no engagement and no one got hold of us, we would have stopped because what are we doing it for?
Exactly.
So the only reason we are carrying on is because people are downloading it, they're listening to it, and that makes all the difference. And then it has the added effect of it's definitely something that you and I thrive on. We enjoy doing the show. It's good for us personally. It helps develop ourselves from just a personal standpoint. And there's no way that would happen if people weren't actually listening. So, thanks everyone. Really do appreciate it.
Yaku, thank you very much for your latest pledge of support. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Take it easy.
Good weekend, Ed.
Catch you next week.
Bye for now.
Right, and Echo, clear for takeoff, heading 270, United 204. Got 5169.